got his tea. Gillian's got your tea. Or do you drink your tea? Yep.
I don't have tea.
I don't have tea either today. I had tea before. I had pre-tea. I had pre's.
But do you bring your
Pre-tea.
quality?
I always bring my quality, boy.
Got that quality
be-
content.
Quality podcast today, everyone. That's for sure. There's going to be no audio issues. The pixely Alex is going to be gone because I'll fix it in post. Everything
Yeah,
is
fix
great.
it in post. Should be right.
Fix it
Could
in
you
post.
AI upscale it actually?
It runs
AI
so blurry
upscale the
for me.
footage, like how they have those like AI upscalers to make the pixelated images into real human faces. Have you seen that?
I have no idea what you're talking about. It sounds
They
cool
took-
though.
They took the
That's
Doom
not
guy
legit.
from Doom, and like the pixel face in the center of the screen from the old game, and they upscaled it with AI software, and it made it a real person based on the
Right.
pixel image. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, no, never
that.
heard of it.
No, okay, let's move on.
No, alright, cool. Sounds fun.
Move on right past that.
Drink your tea, Alex.
And that is the tea.
Hyping
Taylor's
hard.
tea.
Taylor's tea. Taylor
gonna
had
be too
hawk,
late.
now he has tea. What a journey. Alright, cool. Hello, welcome to Thermaltalk, the official Thermaltake Australia podcast. On today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the sad demise of Mixer. We're going to take a topic from the community about the PS5, and we're going to discuss the latest trailers and footage shared of Cyberpunk 2077. As always, you're joined by me, your host Sarah, and today I am also joined by...
Me, Gillian. Hey guys.
Hi, Taylor.
And Alex.
I always love that. I feel like some people think it's like really awkward. I relish in the awkwardness. I enjoy
right.
it.
Yeah, I
Go
was
for
enjoying
I
it.
it.
always,
I love it.
always wait to be polite, but the dude just won't go. So I always have to go. And I'm like, well, one of these days I'm going to wait so miserably long that you're going to have to go.
I honestly,
It's never going to start.
if that happens, I'm just gonna sit here. Like I'm just gonna let it happen. I gotta have a whole podcast of just dead air, and,
And
I'm
then
fine with
I
that.
think.
Inevitably, when I go, he's going to go at the same time. And it's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. You going to
you
go?
Oh no, you go.
Yeah.
You go.
It's so true. Hey, I love that.
I'm surprised we haven't had any issues when we had like meetings or stuff where we had like a person talking over another. Like I haven't actually noticed anything like that happening when we're like in a meeting and like someone will be talking and then like we'll talk at the same time. On this, oh no, you go. Sorry, you go. Like we haven't had that
I've
weird.
had that.
Right.
We haven't had that weird latency thing. I don't know.
I've had that with the sales guys.
The sales guys are.
Yeah. It's always me and Ken.
I'm talking about the main group. Yeah.
The crew.
Yeah. The crew dizzle.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're so painfully white. So how's everybody doing? How's everyone been the last few weeks? I think it's been like 2 weeks since you guys were on the podcast. So, what's been new? What's been the haps? Alex has some dope upgrades. Holy moly, looks cool, dude.
I literally got one light and a lamp, and that's changed my whole background.
I was
Oh,
about
yeah.
to
The
say
whole
that
look.
you discovered
Yeah.
the color purple.
It's-
Yeah.
That's you got that like what is it, Grimace from McDonald's? You got that Grimace purple, which I
Got
always
that
appreciate.
Thanos PC.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
Thanos purple. No, it's nice.
Yeah, so I've taken inspiration from our own set, which basically you light up the background with colors and then have the key light. So I also changed my key light, so it's instead of facing the wall, it faces me, and I had to put a massive amount of baking paper on it to diffuse the light because it was like it's so harsh. Look.
Oh, he's gonna show us the raw light.
The
Oh, that
raw
is
light.
very. That's like
Yeah.
that's like interrogation.
Oh, that's very-
In-
Yeah, it's like
Interrogation
full on,
light, isn't
right
it?
in your face. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could dim it, but it's pretty good just chucking like 6-7 layers of baking paper on it, and
Just an entire roll of baking
Whatever
paper.
works.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's it. That looks good, man. Looks good. I want to get
Thanks.
some LED lights just for the back, so that my
Yeah.
background
Yeah.
isn't as white as it always
Yeah.
is. So,
Mm.
yes.
I think we're all going to start upgrading slowly.
Yeah.
as we stay at home longer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Spend that money.
How
Yeah,
about you
cool.
guys, Gillian, Taylor? How's things with you guys?
Yeah, same old.
Same old.
Good, busy.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of upgrading, you upgraded your rig, didn't you, Gillian?
Yeah,
That's right.
upgraded my computer. Shh,
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
that
Video
in
coming
the-
soon.
What'd you get? To tell the kids at home. What'd you
Oh,
get?
then again, by the time this is out, the video will be out, so you can probably talk about it. Although
Yeah, true.
it's being streamed, but you know, they get exclusive access.
Just do
Yeah,
it.
that's okay. I
Twitch
just
on TV,
upgraded.
TikTok.
I upgraded my CPU to a 3600 Ryzen 5.
Yeah, boy.
New micro ATX motherboard and a new graphics card too. So
Lovely.
it's
Which one did you decide on?
Well,
Have you got it
Well,
yet?
well.
Well,
In the video, I have a 2060 Super. So
Nice.
Oh, nice.
can't say no more than that.
Oh no.
Say no more. Say no more, Gillian. Say no more.
But yeah, I might give that to Billy actually, and then no.
Fair enough.
Good idea.
Yeah.
And then we'll be missing a GPU from the office for some unknown reason.
Mysterious reasons.
People aren't supposed to know. Taylor,
Exposed.
I'm pretending that I bought one.
You did buy one.
Yeah,
What are
you
talking
did.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's exciting. That's nice. I want to get a new GPU for my PC too, but I'm just waiting. Now I don't have to rush as much because Cyberpunk's got delayed, so I
Yeah,
can save up even more. So, which we'll talk about later. I won't spoil the future conversation we haven't had yet, but yeah. How about you, Taylor? We can see you've moved location slightly, haven't you? Or were you in that new location the last time we did this?
I was here last time, yeah. Sorry, my dog's going ballistic. And I
The dog
can't
that you
seem to shut him up.
love.
Yeah, sorry for the audio listeners.
You should send a
Mate, trade him for a
eagle.
hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
That's right.
Talk to quieter.
Are you
Um,
sure about that?
Send him a note that says shush.
Yeah, get the hawk to send the dog a note. It says shush.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's been good. Sorry, guys.
Welcome to
scream at
Dog
him.
Pod, where we just
I
get.
might go quickly just have a word with him.
All right, well, Taylor's gonna go have a chat with his dog, so I can. We just see the dog
Please be
flying across the
quiet.
background. All right, well, I guess I'll wait for Taylor to get back before we do our first segment of the day. Or should we just go into it and just be like, screw you, Taylor? We'll just start without you. Yeah, let's start without him. Start without him.
I don't mind. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll start without him. You missed.
You choose, Sarah.
That's right. All right. So, first thing we're going to talk about today on the podcast is I feel like it's a story that's been slowly covered on the podcast for I want to say 6 months or so since we started. I think one of the first topics we talked about was actually Mixer when we started. But so recently, in the latest Mixer twist, it's no more. Mixer has been shut down. Well, it's going to be shut. I don't know if it is actually officially shut down yet. I think it's slowly shutting down. As of July 23. So yeah, so they're going to be moved onto Facebook Gaming. Which is another thing we talked about a little while ago, Facebook Gaming. And so,
Yeah.
God, all I'm saying is we're basically the Simpsons. We just predict
think
everything
so.
that's going to happen. If we talk about it, it's going to happen. So, because we talked a few months ago about how Facebook Gaming was, trying to get big and we were talking about how it could, grow and how it could actually do well. And now they've taken a huge step to basically mix Mixer into it to make one thing. So of course, I felt like we had to talk about it, like I said, as the latest installment of the Facebook Gaming Mixer, universe, the extended Mixer universe, the MCU, you could say, Mixer Cinematic Universe. So how did you guys feel about hearing about wee old Mixer shutting down? Were you guys surprised? Did you kind of see it coming, or what did you guys think?
Nah, I think when they brought over Ninja and Shroud, that was like their last hurrah of
Yeah.
is this going to work or not? And basically when they found out that that's not enough to bring over people, that was like, yeah, this is it, guys. This is the last
No more.
last straw. You guys are
Yeah.
not gonna do it anymore.
Mm.
Which is really sad. I think, especially to a lot of the streamers that were there, a lot of the partner streamers and stuff, that they were pretty heartbroken by it, which is understandable. Like, you tried to build up this community on this platform, and then just to have it taken away from you is pretty heartbreaking. But it's the same. It's the same with anything, right? Like, it's the same with any platform. If they did the same with Twitch or YouTube, like, so many people's livelihood would be taken away from them, and so it's pretty hard to deal with. I think the good thing is that they can move on to another platform and sort of have that community hopefully shifted for those streamers. But it was probably a good move on Windows' part or Microsoft's part to pull the pin, considering how much they had invested into it, and they didn't get the growth that they wanted. So yeah,
That's the thing, though. I feel like they didn't invest much into it besides those exclusivity deals they did, and that was only as recent as like the last 6 months they did that with Ninja, Shroud, and a couple of others. Before those deals were made, there was hardly any real marketing push or investment into Mixer as a platform. Like, you would barely hear of it outside of like Xbox briefings or on the dashboard of an Xbox. You'd see, oh, there's this Mixer thing. I felt like they just kind of floundered a bit in the early days of Mixer, when they acquired it and it used to be a different platform. Like, they bought the company that owned, I forget the name of the original platform, but they changed the name to Mixer, because it's still like the lifespan of the actual platform was only like 2 or 3 years, if I'm remembering correctly. So it wasn't around for all that long to kind of show like long-term growth. So like, it was kind of a bit of I was surprised to find that they basically decided to pull the pin, because they didn't really give it a chance. But not because they didn't give it a chance in the last year or so. They didn't give it a chance to begin with. Like, I just think it was a kind of an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, we'll get a streaming service, because that was kind of the thing at the beginning of the latest console generation, was sharing gameplay footage and commentary via your console. So like, when the generation starts, like, oh, we have this Mixer thing that could kind of add to that whole contribution to community sharing. But then they just didn't do anything with it. Like, they didn't see it as something, as a viable platform to actually be used on its own outside of the Microsoft ecosystem. And then with competitors like Twitch and YouTube, they obviously were banking on things outside of gaming. So they had like lifestyle content and commentary and different kinds of art that could be shared with the community. And Mixer didn't really have that. They just had gaming, and they're so like, advantages being the FTL, like low latency stuff, the discoverability features. I heard from a couple of Mixer streamers that I've spoken to were a lot more favorable. Like, it was easier to grow on Mixer despite there being less people watching. Like, if you just started fresh, within a month you'd have more followers and viewers than you would if you were to start on Twitch. And another thing I've been hearing as well is that with this mass exodus of people just abandoning Mixer because it's a sinking ship at this point, not many of them are going to Facebook Gaming. Very few are making that move to Facebook Gaming. Most of them are going to Twitch, with some going to YouTube Gaming. But the thing that they're realizing is that, their community, they're getting a lot of support from, Twitch regulars offering, raids and shares and all that kind of stuff, but they're not noticing the same level of growth they were getting from when they were on Mixer. It's only been less than a month. Can't actually remember exactly when it happened, but they expected a lot more growth in that short period of time, especially when they already had an existing audience that was quite significant. But this just goes to show that the reverse is also true. When you try to pull an audience from one platform to another, it's almost impossible, if not extremely difficult, when you have to think about who the person creating the content is and how loyal they are to the person or the content. Because there's very few people that will be like, oh, that person's going exclusive to, like, say for example, if you had a person you watch on YouTube and they said to you tomorrow, hey guys, I'm moving exclusively to Vimeo, it's a paid subscription thing.
Good
You'd be
old
like,
Vimeo.
you know what? Like I like this stuff, but not enough to
Yeah,
and like you just forget
definitely.
about it. So it wasn't surprising that when Shroud and Ninja, the two biggest players on streaming platforms, was like, hey, move over there. I basically just stopped watching Shroud. I
They
completely
just
forgot
lost
about
their
watching
Yeah.
Shroud.
audience.
And like not because I didn't like his content, but it's just like, oh, if I didn't see him on Twitch pop up,
You wouldn't watch
I
it.
had no reason to go to Mixer if I like
Yeah.
was specifically looking for his content.
Mm.
I know it sounds silly and lazy, but that's a big leap and a half to be like, oh, I'm gonna load up this whole other website just to watch this one dude
Yeah.
and like keep that on the background to be like get notified when he goes live, like that kind of thing. Yeah, and like there's a danger of the current landscape being, you know, you've got Facebook gaming, Twitch, and YouTube as like the three major players. With most people you speak to will be like, well, Twitch is the number one; they have the most market share. But you can see from there was a report that was shared a few months ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, that kind of led to the downfall of Mixer. To be honest, where people were kind of seeing the signs that from the current lockdown, more people are watching content at home. Growth skyrocketed for Twitch and for YouTube gaming. It's well for Facebook as well. And then with Mixer, it was like 0.1 or 1.0% growth for video watch time, which is insane. Like you'd think it'd be something, but to be that low, almost like not even worth reporting. It was just what I was saying earlier that Microsoft just weren't pushing it as hard as they should have been. Like they needed to actually put in the money and the time to be like, hey, this is something we care about. This is something we want to actually include in our messaging and in our platform. But they just didn't do it. It was always just there as the thing that you could do as an added bonus, but never something that was actually like a force to be reckoned with or anything like that. And it's a shame because I think there was a lot of creators on that platform that were doing really good things, and that were like looking to basically build their own community away from Twitch, where there was some issues with Twitch as a platform they didn't like, and they were trying to basically not repeat those same mistakes. And the fact that they're now being kind of forced out of their hands to then go over to Twitch or to basically just abandon their livelihood, it's a shame.
It's sad.
Very true.
Definitely. I actually someone who I used to watch a long time ago, and basically was one of the people who inspired me to start streaming in the first place when I used to stream. She recently has moved to Facebook gaming, and I was like, what?
Who is this?
I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about people like content creators?
You can shout them out. That's fine.
I mean,
I
you can use their creator name.
Okay, her name was Minx, and I used to watch her back in the day. She did Call of Duty, and I used to love her. And so I was like, every now and then I'm like, I haven't seen her stream for a while. And I just happened to jump into her channel. And I was like, you've moved to Facebook gaming? And then so I actually went onto Facebook gaming for the first time because I wanted to check it out. I was like, okay, why did she? I don't actually know why she moved, but and I just tried to like look at it as someone who does not have Facebook. It is the most frustrating thing for someone who does not have Facebook to use Facebook gaming. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, this is a direct message to Facebook. You need to fix that. If you want to go up against Twitch, you can browse Twitch so easily without an account. It's so easy, you know, and it's great because it gives you an incentive to sit there, watch, see if you enjoy it. And then if you do, you might be incentivized to create an account and properly be a member. Facebook gaming, every 4 seconds, a pop-up kept being like, sign in, sign in. Sign in. I'm just like, I'm gonna need you to sign out because I'm gonna leave. Like, I was just like, I'm done. I'm not. So yeah, and like, I just found it so weird because when I clicked on her page, it immediately started showing me a VOD of her last stream. So I thought she was live, but she wasn't live. It's just a really confusing layout. And I was like, look, as much as I never got on board with Mixer, I never had that experience with Mixer when I went onto it. It felt pretty much like Twitch to me. Mixer was relatively easy. It just wasn't the platform that most people I watched was on, so I never really used it. But if they're going to pull everything into Facebook gaming, they got to fix that because, like, as someone who doesn't, I don't know, like, maybe if I loved it and I thought it was a great platform, I'd be incentivized to sign up again, but I was not. I was turned off more than anything.
Yeah, I'm a bit like unclear as to what the relationship is between Microsoft and Facebook when it comes to streaming. Like, does this essentially mean that any kind of official communications that requires live stream content from Xbox or Microsoft has to be done on Facebook Gaming.
Maybe
Like they can't
must
do a
be.
stream on YouTube or anything like that.
I mean, if they're going to try and pull all their resources into the one thing, I guess it would make sense.
Yeah,
Which is kind of annoying.
It was kind of a strange messaging. It was kind of like just a bit of a like a sympathy kind of thing. Like, hey guys, we're basically pulling the plug on this whole Mixer thing, but for all you guys that are left stranded out there,
Yeah.
Facebook Gaming's going to accept you and they're going to help you with like building up your channel. And it just seemed like a really weird, like, just like we're throwing you to another master and you can choose to stay with them if you want, but if you don't, then you're basically stuffed.
Yeah, basically. And it's
and
not
like,
a good master to go to, in my opinion, because it's terrible.
Yeah, and like there was a YouTuber that I used to watch a little bit. I'll say her name as well. Her name's Melanie Mack. She did a lot of Tomb Raider stuff, actually, Gillian, back in the day. But she started streaming on Facebook Gaming as like before it was like this was like I want to say like 4 years ago. Like this is what Facebook kind of does. They release these new features and they don't really talk about them.
Yeah.
Or like promote them as heavily.
There.
That was like that time period. Like she was streaming on Facebook like before it was Facebook Gaming.
Wow.
And I just see her in my newsfeed pop up as a stream. So I'll be scrolling in the newsfeed, then a live video would be there with like live chat happening, and I'd be like, oh, she's playing a game on Facebook, and I was like so confused by that.
Yeah.
But then she stayed on that platform, and because of it, she's actually got more of a presence there than she does on YouTube or Twitch, like combined.
Wow.
Like her main source of like revenue and creative focus is on Facebook Gaming. And that was like impressive to see. That I was like, oh, okay, that's actually to hear that Facebook has discoverability in that space.
Yeah.
When you compare it to things like Facebook pages these days, like it's insane how that works as the algorithm changes.
But I used to see that more back in the days instead of now.
Really?
It would have been like a few years ago. I used to see it quite a bit, just pop up randomly gaming.
Just random live streams, yeah.
I still get it a fair bit.
I haven't seen it much. Only maybe like a couple of people that I know are actually friends with that are just.
I have a
stream
feeling that if you click on someone's stream, it will start putting them randomly in your feed. Like if you like maybe within like the last 30 days or something, if you've clicked on someone's stream on Facebook, then it will pop up in your feed with other streamers.
Okay.
I don't know. Like that's just how it seems, because I clicked on someone, within the last month, and I've seen a couple. Haven't clicked on it since, and then I don't know. We'll suss that out as to when it stops showing me people's streams.
I find it funny that you have to log in to watch.
Yeah.
For Mixer, was it like that as well, or could you watch without having a login?
Pretty sure with Mixer you could just watch that an account, because I've clicked on a few streams.
It operated the same as Twitch, where you could just
Very similar.
And so I think for me the biggest barrier for entry for Facebook Gaming is the fact that you basically need a Facebook account to really use it properly.
But here's the thing though, who doesn't have a Facebook account?
I think more and more people I think more and more people are getting off Facebook, to be honest, mainly because their like boomer parents are on there being like, oh Jenny, check out this
They
new
still
thing
have
I
over
bought.
1 billion users though.
Yeah, but I think most of them are dead accounts, to be honest, nowadays.
Yeah, but even still, like those are still accounts that exist, and whether or not they're active, you could cut 10%. Let's be generous, cut 10% from that figure. You still got over 500 million users.
Yeah.
When you compare that to the following of YouTube and Twitch, then it's like, then it becomes a bit staggering when it comes to like the growth potential of people you can reach with your content.
But I don't know. I just don't know if I feel like it was the best avenue. I think they should have stuck with Mixer, and they should have actually given Mixer a shot. Like I swear I've never seen any advertising for Mixer.
Yeah,
it's like it barely exists.
You also don't know what it is as well. Like just from the name, and like if you were just tell someone, oh, I'm on Mixer, it's like what is that?
What's Mixer?
Am I a bartender? It's like bartending school. Can I learn how to make some drinks?
Am I a chef?
Yeah, what's going on?
It's mixology streams. Yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to make a cocktail. This is Whiskey Star. I need 1 raw egg yolk and.
So Mixer was around 3 years prior. Is that what you said before?
They've been around roughly 2 to 3 years, yeah. But I think they were called Beam originally before Microsoft acquired them. And Beam was it wasn't live streaming. It was some kind of software that was like to do with uh, it was to do with streaming, but a different kind. It wasn't live streaming. It was like Netflix streaming, that kind.
Okay.
And I think Microsoft bought them when they saw the company, and it was like, oh, this could be useful. Similar to when Sony bought Gaikai, like 6 or 7 years ago, and then they changed it into Mixer, and then changed it into a live streaming platform that was built into Xbox, as well as on its own. And obviously the technology behind it was kind of proprietary, with the FTL stuff being so, like, when we're talking on stream or talking in live chat, there's a delay there. But with Mixer, you could say something on stream and the person watching would see it at the same time you say it, so they can then respond to you in real time.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so that was like the main draw for like actual professional streamers. Like, oh, actually that might be better for my community, because I can have more of a direct conversation with them if your content is more focused on community engagement rather than like gameplay stuff. But that wasn't really enough for some people, because again, the audience wasn't there. Despite that and the discoverability features that existed, just you couldn't build a massive audience there. Not when you compare it to places like Twitch.
Yeah. I don't know. It does make me sad, because competition is really good, and Twitch does, in my opinion, Twitch needs a bit of a, smack.
Kick.
Because I do think it needs I think Twitch is getting very comfortable. YouTube streaming has not even come close still, in my opinion. And I just think, a good competitor would have been really good for Twitch, and it's sad that they've just kind of yeeted Mixer out of there before it's even had a chance to actually get to that point.
I think this will be worrying to Twitch. I don't think there's less competition. I feel like it's just going to be more centralized. So you still got the three big players. You've got Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. YouTube and Facebook are owned by Google and the Facebook company, respectively. They're massive companies that have a lot of money to spend. So they're not little pushers or like little players in this space. So when it comes to that kind of thing, I think we've already seen those moves being made. Because don't forget, like, YouTube also paid ridiculous amounts of money to get exclusive streamers onto YouTube Gaming. That was a move that they also did. So, despite the fact that maybe it didn't work as intended to get that market share over from Twitch to Mixer, I still feel like, Twitch should be making, the necessary steps to be like, well, actually, hang on, we should probably be making the appropriate measures to be like, hey, don't go. We'll hang on to you for as long as possible. Because, like people were saying, the ones who came out on top in the situation was Ninja and Shroud. They got paid out immediately. Didn't do their full contract, which I think was a year. And now, like, they're basically floating. Just waiting for that phone call
to just be
from
like,
either YouTube or Twitch. Like, hey, we'll give you the
back.
same deal twice, like whatever, if you come to our platform.
I
wouldn't be surprised if you see either Ninja or Shroud on YouTube Gaming instead of Twitch. Because I'm not sure if they'll go back to Twitch. I don't think they'll
I don't think Shroud will.
Ninja will definitely go to YouTube Gaming.
I think he would too. Yeah,
because of the way that Twitch handled his exit, his leave.
Yeah. Oh, true. That's so true. Yeah, you're right. You're so
but Shroud's up in the air, I reckon. But
yeah, Shroud.
I agree. Definitely not Facebook Gaming.
But I think what you will know,
unless they offer him a massive,
they won't go back for free.
No.
They won't go back for free. If they go back to Twitch, they would have been paid to go back, to be reclaimed into the family, as it were.
Cool. Well, rest in peace, Mixer. We hardly knew you.
Rip in peace, Mixer.
Rip in peace, Mixer. F2Pay respects. All right,
let me see those.
Cool. Let's jump on to the next segment of today, which is another community topic. Thank you, community, for giving me topics. I appreciate
Yay,
you.
the community.
Yay.
Thanks, everybody.
Cool. So this one came from the amazingly clueless Sheba. Sheba was a legend, gave me a whole bunch of options. So appreciate you, Sheba. Shout out to Sheba. And I picked out of that, is the PS5 going to outperform PCs? We don't really talk about consoles that much because I like to keep this a pretty PC-orientated like, what is it called? Podcast?
Podcast.
Yes, because it is on
That's the
a
one.
PC.
Serial radio
channel.
drama.
Yes. But I do think this is not a bad thing to talk about, because that is something that came up recently with all the PS5 news and all the hype and all the hate as well. Some people aren't happy with it. So yeah, I just thought we could talk a little bit about our feelings towards the PlayStation 5, and if we think it's, if everyone's going to jump ship and, throw their PCs out the window because it's time for the PlayStation 5. What do we think, guys? Is it time to jump ship?
Sarah,
Yes.
what if I told you that the PS5 is actually just a PC?
Oh.
You what, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, you said
Oh, prepare for this piping hot tea.
Contra. Get the tea
I'm
ready,
ready.
boys.
Get the kettle on and get me my biscuits.
Pop that kettle on, boys. It's time to go.
Nah, it's funny, right? So
Oh yeah, is it?
After all that
no,
build up.
it is
Nah.
funny because
Nah.
people are talking about this in different camps, right? They're like, obviously, there's no way a gaming console that is only just now, after nearly more than a decade, is getting an SSD put into its system as the major selling point for this console generation. That's going to be more powerful than a modern day PC. Of course, it's not going to be more powerful, but that's not really the point. The point is that when you're building a computer, obviously the computer is a multifaceted machine. It can do various different tasks. It has different objectives depending on how you build it, what software you're using, and what you're optimizing for. When it comes to consoles, even back to the PlayStation 1 days, these things were designed from the beginning, ground up, to be like, we want to get the most performance for this specific task. And the games that are made exclusively for these platforms are tailor-made to take full advantage of that hardware. That's a unique
Did you
thing.
make them?
I like, as soon as you said that, I looked straight to Alex. Because we both had the same, Taylor.
Well, no, this is just history. I don't know about you guys, but I've looked up this stuff because I find it fascinating. And when it comes to the PS5, obviously, yeah, the SSD is a big deal, including the Xbox Series X to an extent. But when they talk about the hardware of the PlayStation 5, sorry, in the mic, what they talk about is basically just efficiency and making use of the hardware that they have to basically get the most performance and the most rendering detail out there. They're not pushing high numbers of 8K, 4K stuff or 120 FPS. They do claim those things, that there's options that are available, but they're more so talking about the way things are rendered and things are pushed out onto the actual screen.
Mhm.
That is something that PCs are more difficult to achieve because they're so variable. There's, out of the four of us here that all have gaming PCs at home, they're all different. And if we ran the same games ourselves, the performance and all that stuff would be so variable that you wouldn't get a consistent experience. And I think that's what people are missing when there's developers and Sony themselves are saying that the PS5 is better or will be exceeding the potential of PCs this generation, because I think they're talking about that side of things, not raw power output.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Agree?
Alex, Gillian, what are your hot takes?
So I agree with Taylor in that basically, because it can be manufactured in a way that is exactly the same, games can also be optimized for that particular hardware, which makes them probably more likely to run better. In that regards, there can be aspects of it that is going to run better than a PC, but the fact that you can upgrade a PC to however you want, that's going to mean that it's never going to be better than a PC. And we probably need to compare price to performance more so, because generally consoles are so much cheaper than a PC. And that's because they are they are manufactured that way, that there's so many manufactured that they're cheaper to make. So you would get more performance out of a console than you would generally than you would for similar parts in a PC. But then you can upgrade anything you want in a PC, whereas generally you can only upgrade. What? I didn't know that they're only putting in an SSD now.
Yeah, same.
It seems
so
bizarre,
ridiculous,
right?
I was that
What the
nerd.
hell?
You could swap out the internal storage of the PlayStation 4, Alex. This little
Oh, yeah.
drive bay where you can take out the hard drive and replace it with like a larger
put
hard
it in
drive or whatever.
Yeah.
I took mine out. Do you
Put it in
remember
an
this?
SSD.
I put it in SSD.
Yeah, you did.
Genius.
Yeah, you did.
But the thing what you were saying before, Alex, about the price to performance, that is true. But the important thing to remember, because we don't know the price of the PS5 as of yet. They've yet to announce that, and actually got people a bit worried, myself included, because they're like, "Hey, it's coming out sometime end of this year.
Yeah.
You'll be excited." And I'm like,
Will I?
$800.
Yeah.
But
$900 dues.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like just build a PC. At that point,
Yeah, I know.
Just
Yeah,
have the extra
exactly.
build a PC.
But
you know?
man, Horizon 2. Anyway, but the PlayStation 4 when it first came out, Sony sold that at a loss. They were not making money on that hardware. I think it shipped for like 500, 600 or something like that. AUD.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the hardware that they were using was actually more expensive what they were manufacturing. But the reason they did that was to basically, it was funneling into their strategy, is that what they focus on is software sales. That's the main bread and butter that they have. And year over year, their digital software revenue has been like ticking over to the point where they're reaching like nearly 50-50 when it comes to physical retail as well. That's why they also have the discless version of the PS5, because that's their end goal. They want you to buy digital games, not buy physical disc-based games anymore. It also means they have to put in a disk drive, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't cost much, but it's still, you can take $50 off the retail price.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious to know if there'll be the same story this time around, if they'll actually be taking a hit and not make it $800 and make it $500 or make it $600 and be like, you know what, if we just get a bunch of these out in the wild, get a huge install base, we can make it back in just software.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they destroyed, in my opinion, this console generation with the PS4. Even if they did start selling it at a loss, they well and truly made that back very easily, I imagine. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, and they're still selling. Like even now with the PS5 on the horizon, people are still buying PS4s or PS4 Pros if they can find them for a good price. Like you can get a PS4 for like $250-$300. Brand new console.
Yeah. What about you, Gillian? I know you're a big PC person, but could you be converted? Is the question. Could Sony take your soul? Let's find out.
Yeah, it's a hard one because in my mind, I'm very I like everything compact that can do everything. So like my PC, I can game, I can do my work, I can watch Netflix, I can do all that kind of stuff. And it's just one thing, and I'm paying just for that one thing, and that's it. I pay maybe for games, like you buy your games, that's the extra cost that you'll have. And maybe in a couple of years, you'll upgrade. I see that beneficial in my eyes. Maybe when I was younger, I would have loved console more.
Yeah, a bit more.
But I don't see, it's hard because I'm not gaming that much. I'm mostly PC games, so I'm not the one that will go and just buy a PlayStation. Maybe, I don't know. I just see it easier with PC, but then also the good thing about console is that you can just relax and chill on the couch, and you can just sit there and play on the TV, which I would love to have at home with my PC. That's why I ended up buying a controller just to see if I could play certain games with it and just sit on my bed and play. But I'm really crap with the console. So
it is a weird learning curve, I feel.
Yeah,
when you
I can't do
a console.
Yeah, I can only play Tekken or car games and stuff like that. That's all I can do.
I think my eyes are ruined from playing games at higher frame rates now.
Can't go back to the pleb life of those lower
frames. I look at 30
frames.
FPS games, and even when they have really good motion blur or they have like a stable frame rate at 30, I'm just like, my eyes, man, they hurt.
Yeah.
This needs to be 60 at least, otherwise it's gonna be bad.
Oh, that's great.
It's true. But I was thinking, Oh, well, I was wondering, do people pay a yearly subscription of something for PlayStation?
If you want to play online, you have to pay for PlayStation Plus, which can vary from a month to a year depending on the plan you pay for. Same with
Okay.
Xbox. That's been a thing for since like 2006, back in the 360 PS3 days.
Xbox
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah. And are games usually more expensive than PC?
No.
Or
Yeah,
no?
don't
Well, like
you
lately,
think
Yeah,
so?
I think so.
lately
Yeah.
here in Australia, if you buy a game day one retail, you can get a game on Xbox or PS4 for usually $69 as like the cheapest price. Whereas on PC, if you can't find like a digital key seller that's selling at a similar price, usually you're paying full price.
Yeah, I
Um,
found if you're buying PC digital, it'll like always be more. But if you're
Yeah.
buying in real life, PC tends to be cheaper. I find at
It's
least when I
rare
used
and
to work
rare
at
these
indie
days,
games.
though. Like the last game I bought physically for PC, I think, was Call of Duty,
And
and
the
that
fr-
was a similar story.
Yeah, I think the last thing I bought for PC physically was great investment of mine, Fallout 76, but they didn't come with the disc. It was just the case.
No,
with
it just comes
nothing
with
in
the
it.
code,
I was
and that's
like,
the annoying
Yeah.
thing. I can't believe you can't like call up a store and be like, "Hey, can I buy one of those? And can you just open the box and read me the
That's-
code?"
yeah,
I
well,
don't want to come into the
kinda.
store.
Because what's the point? I've just got this like empty case with just like a
Yeah.
piece
Yeah.
of paper in it. And it's
Yeah.
like,
It's a
Even if-
weird,
yeah.
like,
What a
happy
dish.
medium. That's I think it's to basically appease retailers so they don't
Yeah.
bloody
Yeah.
get pissed off.
but I like
Yeah.
discs. I like physical purchases sometimes. I don't know. It's just nice to like have that thing and have it on your shelf. I just feel like that era is
Yeah.
gone now, and it makes me sad. It makes me feel old, and like
I'm
I
not
miss
crying
CDs.
about it. I'm okay with having a digital library because I'm just kind of resigned to the fact
don't
that
know.
that's going to be the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like having physical discs. It's fine, but it's just the little things that add up. Where it's like, oh, I have to go grab it. I lost
Gotta go
it. Where
find
is
it.
it?
Oh
Yeah,
no,
I gotta
you
check it
poor
out on this
thing.
one. I gotta get up from my couch and bloody.
Cut to like grandma with her massive like what are they record and putting the thing on and
Dude, that's the weirdest thing. Like records are popular. for,
yeah,
like,
man,
the last couple of
nostalgia's
years.
cool.
But it's like it's funny because it's like I think I read somewhere it's like record sales had grown like 150% because they were so low to begin with. But the little bit of growth from like all the hipsters and stuff just made it more successful. So now it's like I thought this was a dying medium, but okay,
Nah,
make
mate.
more of them.
Power of nostalgia. It is a powerful
know.
beast.
Yeah.
It
Gotta
truly
have
is.
that clear, lossless audio. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, we
Yeah,
shall
for
move
sure.
on to our final chat topic of the day, which is the recent new trailers and gameplay releases for Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I know me and Taylor are excited about this game, but I don't know if you guys are. So I wonder if, and by you guys, I pointed to Alex and Gillian for audio listeners. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. So I thought hopefully you guys have had a chance to watch at least some of the trailers and some of the things that was talked about for the game. Because I thought it'd be really interesting to hear what you guys think of it as two people who, as far as I know, don't play a lot of RPGs? Question mark? Don't think so.
Exclamation point.
So yeah, I'm just curious to hear what you guys' thoughts
Good
are.
question.
And then Taylor and I will probably geek out at some point. So if that happens, feel free to interject and tell us to shut up. So we'll start off with Gillian or Alex. What did you guys think of what you saw? Did you get a chance to see any of the
Yeah.
trailers?
Yeah. I've been watching all of the trailers and a couple of gameplay as well. I'm actually excited for it. I'm actually really excited to see it. But me play it, I don't know how I would go with that.
Ooh, okay.
I
Have you
know.
ever tried like backseat gaming with Billy?
Yeah. I'm always watching him play games. Is that what you mean? Backseat gaming? You watch-
Like no, like because like
Yeah.
I've heard from other people that's like that like one person will play the game because they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
more
yeah,
into
yeah.
it, but the other person is still interested enough to watch it, so like
Yeah.
you just play it together, quote unquote together.
Yeah, always do that with Billy.
Oh.
So I'm waiting for Billy to get it, and then I'll just be watching him play.
Mm.
So it
That's
should be
great.
good. And then I'll just take a turn and then be like, "Oh, this is so cool!"
Please stream that. That would be
I'm
so
a
funny.
cyborg ninja.
I just love the graphics. It just reminds me of what's it called? The movie Taylor.
There's a
really
few.
bad.
Yes.
There's a few movies out there, Gillian. We
really
might
bad.
need to narrow it down.
By the director, yes, with the actor.
And there's people in it.
Yeah.
Wait, the new one they remade with Ryan Gosling. Shit! Why?
Oh,
was
Blade Runner
that?
2049.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Blade Runner.
that's fair.
Blade Runner. It reminds me of that sort of thing.
The guys, the movie. Remember?
Oh, of
The-
course.
I
How
really
could I get
bad.
that from the movie?
And
You
most
got that really
people-
quick after she said Ryan Gosling, Taylor.
Oh well, how can you forget his face? I mean, come on, it's Ryan Gosling.
Yes,
Have you
yes.
seen him in Drive? The man can act.
Next movie
Sounds
on
like someone's a fan of Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
I'm not
You're
denying
gonna
it,
just
so-
use your hawk to send Ryan Gosling love letters from across the Pacific Ocean.
Excuse you, I'm gonna send my Hulk to collect him for me.
just like just carrying him back. That's
But yeah,
great.
you're gonna watch.
man? I'm Ryan Gosling. I only act with my face.
I bet you're gonna watch The Notebook after this, aren't you?
I hate The Notebook. That's a
Damn it.
terrible movie.
Oh,
It's
controversial.
so bad.
Controversial.
How dare you?
Yeah.
But yeah. Did I finish what I was saying?
We got distracted because we started talking about Ryan Gosling.
What's the last thing you saw of the game? Did you watch the latest trailer for it? The latest like gameplay sizzle reel for it?
Yes, I watched the trailer I watched with the oh my god, man. You're like I don't even remember what I did this morning. Like
Can I just
Are you-
say, just quickly as a
right?
brief aside,
it's
I
really
think you
bad.
should stop bullying me about forgetting stuff. When you do it just as often. So I'm going to shut that whole thing down right now.
I watch
And
a
I'm going to
lot of
refer back to this podcast as video evidence. Be like, hey, here, shush.
I think
I'm
it's
trying- I have a lot of things. I have 100 million things on my mind. Okay, but I'm managing the marketing. You know. Now I saw gameplay with these guys get arrested, and they take them. I don't know. They just keep
Downtown.
them or something, and then they escape, and then yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I think Sarah, she's talking about Jackie and V when they get cornered by the cops when they're trying
Yes,
to steal the
that's it.
car.
Yeah.
there you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, that was awesome. My God.
Mm. Apparently, that's the only opening. It's the opening hours of the game.
Yeah,
Like,
they've
it's
not
a lot.
shown any more than
Yeah.
like I think they said it was like just a little bit in the first few hours of the game. That's all they've shown. I was like, are you joking? What else
Yeah.
is there? Like I thought you'd shown the whole freaking thing. Like
Ah.
it's nutty.
You remember the first post that they did with the girl, and like the
With
knife
the
for
yeah, the
Yeah.
arms.
Blade arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
I
cool.
wonder if they're gonna actually bring her into it.
I don't know because like that was such a long time ago.
Was it
It was
Yeah.
kind of like a
2017 or something? 2016?
no, Sarah. It
even
was
before that.
2012.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I was
It
still
was
in high
December
school.
2012.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
I think I may have told the story to you guys, but I
That's
was
nutty.
in my school library during a study break watching the trailer on the library computer,
Wow.
being
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, these are the guys that made Witcher 2." Come on, guys.
Witcher 2, what a game!
I know, right? No one played that one. But yeah, it was
they
really good. But yeah, like when I saw that trailer, I was like, "Damn, that's awesome!" But then it's like, that's never going to come out. It's going to be
Wow.
ages, and I was proven right.
You went off.
But I don't think like that was like a recruitment trailer to like hire more people to make the game. So I don't know if those I'm sure there'll be an Easter egg that will like allude to that character, but I don't think they're going to
I
be
hope
anything.
so because she looks awesome.
it was
Yeah,
a cool
she was
design.
cool.
Very
Yeah.
iconic.
But
Mm.
it's so interesting to see how the aesthetic has changed so much from that initial trailer. Because like when you see that
Has.
trailer and you watch like the more recent trailers, the color palette has changed from like that blue tinge,
Right,
like
yeah.
cyberpunk, like almost like Blade Runner, more Blade Runner-ish
Yeah.
than what it is
I
now.
feel like it's gotten a bit lighter. A bit...
With that stark yellow and like all the
Mm.
colorful like neon stuff, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I like the improvement. I think it's improvement, but
Yeah,
it's definitely like a drastic shift, like a tonal
it's
shift.
interesting. That's a good point. I never thought about
Mm-hmm.
that. What about you, Alex? What are your feelings?
It
You
looks
pumped?
good.
You-
Nah, I'm not.
I'm mildly
Oh, you tell
pumped.
he's ecstatic.
I don't. I don't like to be pumped. I think every time that I've gotten really hyped up for a game, I've been let down, and so
I understand.
I don't
that.
like to get into the involvement of all the hype of the game, of the start of the game, and I like to make my own opinion about the gameplay and stuff. From what it looks like, I tried to work out the mix of games it looks like. So it's like Grand Theft Auto mixed with Watch Dogs mixed with Borderlands.
Ooh.
Just grab every open world game and just like
smush them
smush.
together. It makes
And
a
here's
cyberpunk
your game.
baby.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Don't use it on one girl.
That's right.
So I like the idea that the choices that you make in the game differ the storyline. That sounds really cool, and that aspect of it is really cool. But I'm less of a storyline kind of guy. I just like gameplay, and I'm just like, going in, killing people,
Yeah, same.
getting out.
I know this from brief time playing Diablo 2 because that was a revelation experience for me. Who likes playing story games, and I'm like, I'm listening to this person tell me what to do, and then Alex is like, man, get in the portal and kill demons. Don't listen to her. I'm like, I gotta know why I'm here. Why am I in this town? Why am I killing these things? Like,
Who cares?
I need a purpose.
Two very
Otherwise, I'm
different
staying
places.
here. I'm staying by the fire with this hot blacksmith lady who's just not talking to me because Alex keeps on skipping the content. Keep going.
I've played this a million times, Taylor.
I know.
This is what you gotta do. Just
And
start attacking.
we were skipping stuff too. Like, oh yeah, I already have the portal key, so we just skipped like 6 hours of the game. So don't worry about it. I'm like, what do you mean? Don't worry about it.
Oh no.
Very unprepared.
I understand that then. So I guess from your perspective, it's kind of like, because to me, the big appeal for Cyberpunk is that, because it is an RPG, it's not really GTA. It's more akin to like, I guess you could say The Witcher 3, or you could say even games like Skyrim, where it's like, there's a world and you can play a role within that world and you can pick how you want to traverse that world however you like. And I feel like when you pick up an RPG, you don't necessarily do it for the gameplay. Like you can sit through a shitty RPG with like bad gameplay. Like, I love Dragon Age Origins, but the gameplay in that game makes me want to end myself. But the story is incredible.
Hang on.
Nah,
no,
sorry. It's
no.
old, it's dated. A lot of people
aged like a fine wine.
Has it though? I think it's aged
bad.
more like moldy cheese. I'm just throwing it out there.
Hey, moldy cheese. If you have it,
Some people
it's
like
still
it.
Good.
Some
I know.
untasteless people enjoy moldy cheese, but the rest of us don't.
But the inverse is also true. Good gameplay over a bad story can still win the day, aka Diablo 2.
Apparently, not that you know the story.
Yeah,
though.
I don't know what the story is.
the
I just assume
story.
it's bad because no one seems to care.
You just said it was bad because we skipped through it, all right?
Yeah, it's actually really
Yeah.
good. If you read the chronicles,
Yeah.
and the obituaries, and sure. Yeah, for me, I'm super excited because I love RPGs for narrative storytelling as well as the gameplay. And from what I've seen, you're right, Sarah. It is more like it's more Witcher, obviously, because it's from the same developers. But I feel like there's more in common with this, with games like Deus Ex and System Shock, like the kind of the sim, like Dishonored, like that kind of simulation kind of games where they want to make you live inside your character and play out that fantasy of like, if you want to craft this specific person, this is how you would go about progressing through this world. And I've watched a couple of videos from the devs talking about it, and the way they design games is very different to other AAA studios. When you have people like Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed, or even Rockstar with GTA, they usually design their games with the gameplay systems first, and then with the content, and then the world goes on top of that. With Cyberpunk and with The Witcher, they start with a narrative world building base, and they build the content from that. So when you play, quests or missions in CD Projekt Red games, there is that context, which I crave so much for, that makes it like you're doing matters to the world, and that your choices actually affect the world around you, and vice versa. And that's what I really love about these kinds of games. And I think from what I've seen, that is what they're going for, and that is what they're hitting in the small glimpses that we've seen it actually work. It's also very Mass Effect-y because there's 3 origin stories as well. like in Mass Effect and Dragon Age, where you can choose where you like your previous
which I love.
existence was.
I love
I
that.
think it was Street Kid, Crypto, and one other one I can't remember. But essentially, it changes your starting location of the game. So the first hour or so, going off just assumptions, is completely different for each player. So if I was to choose Street Kid and you were to choose Crypto, Sarah, we would start in completely different areas of the map and have our own origin story, essentially, which I think is cool.
Yeah, it seems like just such a cool game. I don't know. I just like that it has so many options, and I like one of the things that upsets me the most about games like Skyrim, like slightly older RPGs, is that you can, like, I find it really annoying how in Skyrim I can be the head of the college of Winterhold with all the sorcerers and generally a good person.
Whoa, spoilers.
But then I can, but then I can also be the head of the dark, like. But then I can also be the head of the Dark Brotherhood and I can murder people. I can be both of those things. And that kind of bothers me because I'm just like, I shouldn't be able to just be going around murder people and also be like, class is in session, everyone. Let's learn about magic. By the way, I'm going to go murder some dudes.
Hang
be
on
right
a minute.
back.
I received a letter. I've got to go kill the
I'm
king.
going to kill this guy. Sorry. Like, I mean, it can
Well,
be...
you don't leave your 2 lives?
Well, I mean, I guess that could be some kind of role playing, but I just find it weird that no one addresses...
The man with many faces, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's no repercussions for doing that. Like, what if I'm, you know, being a wizard and then I've got to go kill one of my students because someone put out a hit on him? Like, that's just... you know what I mean? There should be repercussions for that.
I'm sorry, Timothy. I know we're supposed to learn spells of illusion today, but
I'm
it
going to have
says
to
here, I'm gonna
kill you. Sorry. If you'd learned...
I had the same thing. I got like 30 hours into Skyrim and I was the head of the Warriors Guild and I just became the head of the Thieves Guild and I was like,
this doesn't make sense.
This seems
doesn't
like too much.
Yeah.
I'm too all-powerful. Like, I'm already the Dragonborn. I can bloody shout people off cliffs. Like, it's just too much of a power fantasy. It's not realistic.
To the point where it doesn't make sense that within that world that you're in charge of both of those factions. So I feel like with Cyberpunk, I'm looking forward to the fact that I don't think that's going to be the case. I think whatever choices you make, that it'll affect other people, it'll affect how they talk to you, it'll affect your place in the world, which I love. You know, I love knowing that I'm changing things.
Content to you.
Yeah, which I think is great.
There's consequences to the actions that you take.
Yeah.
And, you know, Elder Scrolls did that back in Morrowind, which, according to some of my friends, is the better Elder Scrolls game. I've never played it. But in that game, you could make decisions or, you know, kill certain characters, and then an entire chunk of the game is just
could be ended,
inaccessible to you.
Yeah.
Like hours of gameplay. You can't do that because you killed that guy. You can't do that quest because he's dead.
Yeah.
And that's similar what they're showing in Cyberpunk is that you can make decisions and like basically screw factions over and be like, hey, I don't want to work with these guys. I want to work with you guys. And then that faction is now basically your enemy number one, and you can never do or work with those people ever again. And I really like that because it actually puts stakes and makes you think about those decisions. And in terms of replay value, like there's nothing to be said there. That's just play the game again, you know, do a different character, role play differently. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how minute that gets, like how far down the spectrum where like little decisions, like how that affects the overall story. I'd like to see what the limits of that are, definitely.
Definitely. Well, we'll have to wait till November to find out, but you know, fingers crossed we can convert these two before November comes and we can convince them to play the game with us as well.
Alex, you have to, Gillian as well, because you can actually, there's a character creator, right? It is so detailed. I'm not going to say how detailed, but I'm just going to say it goes all the way down.
Genitals.
Yes. Didn't have to say it, but you said it.
It's a medical term.
It's now an X-rated podcast.
It's a medical term.
That's why you're so excited, aren't you? It's just for that.
There's 2 options. For us boys, 2 options. And there's sliders. Sliders.
I'm confused.
Alex wants white less now.
Just say it, man.
Just say the baby words.
You guys can think of an amazing outro that doesn't involve genitals, while I talk about
how can you top that?
Ways that you can contact us, like liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter or Instagram. All the links for those will be somewhere easily to access, maybe over that side to the right, or it could be below, depending on what you're viewing this or enjoying this on. Who knows? It's a mystery. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Thermaltake Australia New Zealand YouTube channel, which is great. We're doing really great. We hit 13.6k subscribers the other day. You can join that and help us get to 14 you viewer. You can also jump onto Twitch at twitch.tv/ThermaltakeANZ, I think it is. I always get it wrong. And watch this live, and then we even talk to you afterwards, and we, answer your questions and stuff, and Taylor will tell you more about the genitals. You'll have to be live for it, though.
I'm retracting everything I just said.
I think that's it.
I'm gonna play this back and be mortified.
And this is the moment.
That's actually the tale of a good podcast.
Yeah.
That is. If you don't listen back to your podcast and are ashamed of yourself, then yes, it's an unsuccessful episode. That's for sure. You don't regret everything that led you to this position, then you're doing it wrong. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you so much for sticking around all the way to the end. We do hope you enjoyed this episode of Thermal Talk. If you want to join in the discussion or maybe even submit a topic for us to talk about in future, make sure to jump over to our Discord. We also do weekly giveaways there as well. Remember also that these video podcasts are available audio a week earlier. So jump over to our Spotify, SoundCloud, or Apple Podcasts to listen earlier, and we'll catch you on the next one.